Let's begin our test with our first question. And question number 1 states, John would like to install a RAID array in his new server. Which of the following options would provide John with both most available space and redundancy? Is it A, RAID 6? Is it B, RAID 5? Is it C, RAID 10? Is it D, RAID 1? Or is it E, RAID 0? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is A, RAID 6. It is critical that you are familiar with what a RAID is for the CompTIA exam. RAID is a technology that is used to increase the performance and/or reliability of data storage. The abbreviation stands for either redundant array of independent drives or redundant array of inexpensive disks. A RAID system consists of 2 or more drives working in parallel. These can be hard disk drives, but there is a trend to also use the technology for SSD or solid-state drives. There are different RAID levels, each optimized for a specific situation. Okay, before analyzing our correct answer, let us see what how a RAID array works. In a RAID array, striping means splitting the flow of data into blocks of a certain size, called block size, then writing of these blocks across the RAID one by one. This way of data storage affects on the performance. Mirroring is a storage technique in which the identical copies of data are stored on the RAID member simultaneously. In general, RAID 6 offers greater data protection and fault tolerance, providing striping with double parity, but at the same time, its write performance is slower than RAID 5 because of double parity, though the read operations are equally fast. RAID 5, on the other hand, is cheaper to implement and provides more optimized storage than RAID 6. Okay, let us now analyze the incorrect answers. RAID 5 is the most common secure RAID level. It requires at least 3 drives to work, but can work with up to 16. Data blocks are striped across the drives, and on one drive a parity checksum of all the block data is written. The parity data are not written to a fixed drive. They are spread across all drives, as the drawing below shows. Using the parity data, the computer can recalculate the data on one of the other data blocks, should those data no longer be available. That means a RAID 5 array can withstand a single drive failure without losing data or access to data. RAID 10 is a combination of level 1 mirroring and 0 striping, which is why sometimes identified as RAID 1 plus 0. Mirroring is writing data on 2 or more hard disk drives at the same time. If one disk fails, the mirror image preserves the data from the failed disk. Striping breaks data into chunks that are written in succession to different disks. This improves performance because your computer can access data from more than one disk simultaneously. Striping does not, however, provide redundancy to protect the information, which is why it is designated 0. RAID 1 configuration is a fairly simple one, as it stores identical data on 2 or more disks for better data redundancy. In a RAID 1 configuration, every data is written to both the disks simultaneously, whilst the read operations are fast as the data is read from 2 or more disks at the same time. A RAID 0 or striped set without parity or striping provides improved performance and additional storage, but no redundancy or fault tolerance. Because there's no redundancy, this level is not actually a redundant array of inexpensive disks, so it's not a true RAID. A RAID 0 configuration utilizes 2 separate hard disk drives and writes chunks of data to each one to minimize actuator movement and read-write data faster. And in a sense, each arm does half the work. Okay, let us now jump to our next question. And question number 2 states, John has noticed that his computer is getting slower and slower when trying to access his files. He keeps a daily backup of his data on the drive. How should he approach this issue? Choose 2. Is it A, to replace the CMOS battery? Is it B, to enter safe mode? Is it C, to restore Windows to a previous version? Is it D, to restore from backup? Or is it E, to perform a HDD diagnostic? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answers are B and E, to enter safe mode and to perform a HDD diagnostic. When you decide to run a computer in safe mode, you can start it, test most of its systems, and change certain settings. Safe mode is an excellent way to diagnose and often fix your computer's problems. The smart capability is built into every hard drive and tests every aspect of its performance to make sure that it is performing up to the required standards. Smart will check on aspects from read and write speeds, error rates, to the internal temperature. Note that not all hard drive failure will be predicted, so it's best to back up regularly. If the CMOS battery would be a fault, it would present the following symptoms. The laptop has difficulty booting up, there's a constant beeping noise from the motherboard, the date and time have reset, peripherals aren't responsive or they don't respond correctly, hardware drivers have disappeared, or you can't connect to the internet. Before attempting any of the changes, you should always gather more information about the issue. Entering safe mode or performing a HDD diagnostic would likely tell you where the issue is or if the hard drive is working properly. Restoring Windows to a previous version or restoring from a backup would not really help if the drive is not working correctly. Okay, let us now jump to our next question. And question number 3 states, you are in a remote location and you are trying to pinpoint your exact whereabouts. You are trying to use your smartphone to solve this issue, but it cannot recognize your location on the map. Everything else on the smartphone works as intended. Which of the following options would best describe your issue? Is it A, your device needs an update? Is it B, your battery is low? Is it C, your internet signal is low? Or is it D, GPS is disabled or faulty? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, GPS is disabled or faulty. GPS stands for Global Positioning System. GPS is a system of 30 plus navigation satellites circling Earth. We know where they are because they constantly send out signals. A GPS receiver in your phone listens for these signals. Once the receiver calculates its distance from 4 or more GPS satellites, it can figure out where you are. GPS is precise but it's slow and uses a lot of power on both ends. All the other options are incorrect because it is extremely unlikely that if you don't update your smartphone's operating system, if your battery would be running low, or if your internet signal would be low, that it would cause any interference with your GPS signal. Okay, let us now jump to our 4th question. A desktop computer has been built using an SSD NVMe, the maximum amount of RAM, and a high-end graphics card. Which of the following options would best describe the use of this device? Is it A, a touchscreen kiosk? Is it B, a thin client? Is it C, a NAS device? Or is it D, a CAD-CAM device? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, a CAD-CAM device. Computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing is a combination of two terms, CAD and CAM, to describe the software that is used to design and manufacture prototypes, finished products, and product runs. Its specifications are as follows: high-speed SSD or solid-state drive, high-end graphics, and as much RAM or random access memory as you can get. Okay, and now for the incorrect answers. A touchscreen information kiosk is fundamentally an input device housed in a special container that functions through physical touch upon the touchscreen. In computer networking, a thin client is a simple low-performance computer that has been optimized for establishing a remote connection with a server-based computing environment. The server does most of the work, which can include launching software programs, performing calculations, and storing data. And the network-attached storage, or a NAS device, is a computer that allows multiple users to store and share files in a centralized location rather than individuals storing files on their own computers. By using network-attached storage, documents, reports, music, and videos can be shared with anyone who has access to the network, making NAS an ideal business storage solution. NAS units usually do not have a keyboard or display, and they are controlled and configured over the network, often using a browser. Okay, let us now jump to our next question. And question number 5 states, you have just purchased time on a cloud-based service that only offers you a hardware platform. Which of the following options would best describe these services? Is it A, a hybrid? Is it B, private? Is it C, on demand? Is it D, IaaS? Or is it E, PaaS? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, IaaS. Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS, is a cloud computing offering in which a vendor provides users access to computing resources such as storage, networking, and servers on a pay-as-you-go basis. Organizations use their own platforms and applications within a service provider's infrastructure. Some common examples would be DigitalOcean, Linode, Rackspace, Amazon Web Services or AWS, Cisco Metapod, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Computing Engine. Hybrid cloud refers to a mixed computing, storage, and services environment made up of on-premises infrastructure, private cloud services, and the public cloud such as Amazon Web Services AWS or Microsoft Azure, with orchestration amongst the various platforms. Using a combination of public clouds, on-premises computing, and private clouds in a data center means that you have a hybrid cloud infrastructure. Private cloud, also known as an internal cloud or corporate cloud, is a cloud computing environment in which all hardware and software resources are dedicated exclusively to and accessible only by a single customer. Private cloud combines many of the benefits of cloud computing, including elasticity, scalability, and ease of service delivery, with the access control, security, and resource customization of on-premises infrastructure. On-demand computing is an enterprise-level model of technology by which a customer can purchase cloud services as and when needed. For example, if a customer needs to utilize additional servers for the duration of a project, they can do so, and then they can drop back to the previous level after the project is completed. A PaaS vendor provides hardware and software tools over the internet, and people use these tools to develop applications. PaaS users tend to be developers. PaaS is primarily used by developers who are building software or applications. Okay, let us now jump to our next question. And question number 6 states, which of the following ports would be associated with Apple Filing Protocol? Is it A, port 25? Is it B, port 53? Is it C, port 143? Or is it D, port 548? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, port 548. AFP is short for Apple Filing Protocol. This is an Apple proprietary networking protocol that offered file-based services for Mac OS. The protocol is one of many that Apple supports, and its functionality can be compared to some of the others such as FTP. Okay, let us now check the incorrect answers. Port 25, the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, or SMTP, is an Internet Standard Communication Protocol for electronic mail transmission. Mail servers and other message transfer agents use SMTP to send and receive mail messages. Port 53, the Domain Name System, or DNS, is the phone book of the Internet. Humans access information online through domain names like google.com. Web browsers interact through Internet Protocol or IP addresses. DNS translates domain names to IP addresses so browsers can load Internet resources. Each device connected to the Internet has a unique IP address which other machines use to find the device. DNS servers eliminate the need for humans to memorize IP addresses such as 192.168.1.1. And for the last incorrect answer, port 143. In computing, the Internet Message Access Protocol, or IMAP, is an Internet standard protocol used by email clients to retrieve email messages from a mail server over a TCP/IP connection. Okay, let us now jump to our next question. And question number 7 states, you are traveling in another country and you would like to make sure that your laptop will have enough power to last for the entire flight. The airline company won't guarantee that there are power outlets in the plane. What should you make sure to bring with you? Is it A, a modular power supply? Is it B, a travel adapter? Is it C, a 3-meter charging cord? Or is it D, an external USB charger? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, an external USB charger. One thing to mention, remember to take your time and read the questions carefully. You might run into questions similar to this one, which should be a very easy question, but it is equally easy to make a mistake because of the rushing, because of the thought, for example, of taking this exam, and also time restrictions and stress on top of it. In this case, it is quite obvious why options B and C are incorrect. And when it comes to option A, a modular power supply is simply a power supply with detachable cables. Okay, hopefully I made myself clear so far. If so, let us jump to our next question. And question number 8 states, Sarah has been tasked with replacing a broken touchscreen LCD display on a laptop. What are the most important components that she should check after your job is complete? Is it A, that the battery is seated properly? Is it B, the USB function? Is it C, the trackpad? Or is it D, the digitizer? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, the digitizer. The touchscreen, or the digitizer, is the thin, transparent layer of plastic which reads the signal from the touch and transports it to the processing unit. It is the part that you can touch without disassembling the device. LCD screen is the panel that is inside the device which displays the image. If both LCD and touchscreen are damaged, you may still be able to use portions of the touchscreen, and some parts of the LCD may display the image, but you will incur obvious difficulties in using the device as normal. That is why you should always make sure that the digitizer is functioning correctly. In this case, it's pointless to check if the battery is seated properly or the USB function. And the trackpad or touchpad is a touch-sensitive interface surface that allows you to manipulate and interact with your laptop computer through finger gestures. It does the same job as a mouse on a desktop PC. Okay, let us now jump to our next question. And question number 9 states, you would like to buy a KVM device. What would you associate a KVM device with? Is it A, an F connector? Is it B, Ethernet? Is it C, fiber optic? Or is it D, VGA? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, VGA. Make sure that you are familiar with what a KVM device is. A KVM switch is a hardware device used in data centers that allows the control of multiple computers from a single keyboard, monitor, and mouse. VGA, or Video Graphics Array, is a standard video format that is often used on KVM devices. Okay, let us now analyze the incorrect answers. The F connector, also known as the F-type connector, is a coaxial RF connector commonly used for over-the-air or OTA, terrestrial television, cable television, and universally for satellite television and cable modems, usually with RG6/U cable or with RG59/U cable. Ethernet is a way of connecting computers and other network devices in a physical space. This is often referred to as a local area network or LAN. The idea of an Ethernet network is that computers and other devices can share files, information, and data between each other efficiently. Ethernet cables are a type of network cable. They are designed to work with Ethernet ports. Ethernet ports can be found on routers, computers, TVs, and most internet and network-enabled devices. And now for the last incorrect answer. Fiber optic cable, also referred to as optical fiber cable, transmits data as pulses of light through flexible optical pure fibers of glass or plastic. It has become a popular choice for Ethernet networking and telecommunications applications thanks to its fast data transmission speeds over long distances. And for the last question of our exam, question number 10. And the question states, there has been a network issue and you are tasked with inspecting the data closet. On closer inspection, you notice that some of the wires are not properly seated in the 110 block. Which tools would be your best choice in order to fix this issue? Is it A, a voltmeter? Is it B, a multimeter? Is it C, a toner generator and probe? Or is it D, a punch-down tool? You now have 5 seconds. And the correct answer is D, a punch-down tool. A punch-down tool, also called a chrome tool, is a hand tool used to connect telecommunication and network wires to a patch panel, punch-down block, keystone module, or surface mount box. The punch-down part of the name comes from punching a wire into place using an impact action. It consists of a handle, a spring mechanism, and a removable slotted blade. A voltmeter is an instrument that measures voltages of either direct or alternating electric current on a scale usually graduated in volts, millivolts, or kilovolts. Many voltmeters are digital, giving readings as numerical displays. Just like the voltmeter, you can record voltage with a multimeter, and it has the capability to measure ohms and amperes for units of resistance and current respectively. The difference between the two is that if you need to measure voltage, then a voltmeter is sufficient, but if you want to measure voltage and other things such as resistance and current, then you are going to have to go with a multimeter. The most significant difference in both devices is going to be whether you buy a digital or analog version. And the toner and probe. These devices are used to locate cables in a wiring closet. The toner and probe are used in tandem to trace a single copper-based twisted pair Ethernet or coaxial cable among a bundle or cluster of cables. The tone generator is typically placed at the end of a cable, and the probe is waved around the wiring closet near the cables to locate the connection. It will make a distinctive noise when it's near the correct cables. And as promised, here are the CompTIA 6-step troubleshooting methodology as well as the ports and protocols that you need for this exam. I would also like to offer you a few words of advice. If you will probably get tired down the road and decide to quit learning, but keep your goal in mind and aim for that goal. Don't forget that you don't need to be a genius in order to get into the IT industry, and you can do it at any age. It doesn't matter if you are 14 or 40 years old. Don't forbid yourself to aim high. This is only the first step towards something bigger, and the more that you learn, the easier it's gonna get. The first step is always the hardest one. It might seem exhausting at some point because there's a bit of information to take in, of course. But listen here, I've been through this. If you feel like quitting, take a couple of days off, and then you will without a doubt come back even more willing to learn. Work with yourself, don't tyrannize yourself. Let's get up there, boys and girls, and let's do it. Patience, commitment, and confidence. That's all you need.